Hey guys, Uncle Steph here. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to get a job in 2025 and 2026 in the tech job market. It's a little hard out there. So we're going to give you the tips here based on my decades of experience. And as double duty in this video, it's going to be episode number 1 of my new podcast. Right now, only on YouTube, so you can get the audio version of this video in podcast format on YouTube podcast. Just look for Uncle Steph Developer Podcast, and I will be there. All right, let's jump into the episode. Thanks for watching or listening. Hey guys, yo, how you doing? Uncle Steph here. So, jobs are much harder to come by. I've explained this in other videos because A, they overhired during COVID, you got the AI situation, and frankly, a lot of the people, and the economy is slowing down. So what can you do? What can you do? Well, my solution, of course, if you've been watching my videos, you know my solution. My solution is to go out there, do two to three free small freelance projects just to gain experience. Experience is more important than passing any exams. It's more important than certifications. It's much more important. And I have like a certification program. I've developed a certification platform because I work with many schools, many school districts, and they wanted to certify their students. They wanted a whole system to do that. So I have that. It's there if you want it. I've always said for years, even though I have the product, certifications are worth this much in the coding world. Now, the problem today, besides the big three I just mentioned, AI, overhiring, and perhaps a recession, with the AI, you got this big retooling, meaning the skills that were hot in 2021 and 2022 are not going to be as hot as they are now. So now people are shifting. So you look at Meta, they're shifting their focus. They had their virtual world, that went nowhere. So now they got the hardware. They got the glasses, the Meta glasses, which I think will have legs, to be honest with you, as opposed to the giant goggles. I think the Meta glasses will have legs in terms of a product that they're going to sell. That's just me. So there's something to look into. If you're an aspiring developer, look where the trends are going. The trends are going with different types of wearables, maybe those glasses. There might be opportunities there to get coding in that space, or maybe, of course, AI. You want to get into AI. So anyway, the big problem with the testing regime, and this is an old subject I'm going to revisit. Like, I don't believe in this whole thing about testing. Oh, show me this algorithm or write this code out here in 2 minutes. Testing for technical skills that are fine-grained like this. This to me is weak. What I would do, and I've been in the game for decades, when I hire people, I would know just by talking to them a few questions. I get a pretty good idea of what what they can do and what they know. So I would, somebody would submit their resume, and in the resume, the thing I'm looking for somebody who has skill, somebody who's done stuff, right? If I see school projects, I'm like, school projects not good. You want to show real world projects, because a big part about being a developer is working with other people, gathering requirements, executing on the requirements, delivering on time. So when I see a resume where somebody has built this and this and this for some small company even, I deployed this restaurant, I set up their e-commerce shop. They had a WordPress blog up there, but we implemented e-commerce. We hooked it up to PayPal, and they do online transactions. To me, that's worth much more than somebody who got a couple certifications in Python or JavaScript. Much more. So that's what I look for. I look for in the resume, or through word of mouth is even better. Word of mouth is best, my friends. Word of mouth is best. That's why you got to go out there and start networking, talking to people, getting to local coding meetups, online, whether it's Twitter or some Discord server. You want to be engaging with other developers so you become known. You become a known person. First, you're going to learn a lot, and second of all, you're going to make contacts, and these contacts will get you jobs at some point. So you want to do that. Or maybe you want to start a business, it would be a good idea to have these contacts as well, right? If you have come up, let's say you come up with an app idea and you're looking for people to collaborate with, that's, you want to be able to, you want to know these people, you want to know you can trust them. Same thing with employers. Like when I would hire people, when I had people working for me, I said, "Hey, you know anybody who's good at this?" And they go, "Yeah, I have a friend, And I would entertain this individual's friend way before some random person sending me a resume. So you got to network. Good old networking plays a big role, which means people skills. Anyway, going back to it. So I get the resume. They say I know this, and that, and I have them come in, and I would just be able to ask questions. So let's say I was looking to hire a full stack developer with Express. I would say, what is Node? And they would have to tell me what Node is. I say, what is MVC? All right, okay. Why would you use a relational database versus a NoSQL-based database? Okay, cool. What's normalization? All right. Tell me what you like to do best. You're better at front end, back end. What do you prefer? Why would you use React? Why would you use Vue? And if they're able to answer these questions, you're not going to know everything. But if I'm hiring you for a web stack developer, full stack, you better know these questions, right? This is directly related to that. So that's another tip, by the way. When you're going in there, don't apply to jobs where you're not versed in it. What's the point of that? Unless there's a boom market. Like I said, during COVID, they were hiring everybody and their cats and their mothers and everybody. Oh, you know what HTML is? Kind of. Okay, you got a job. That's how it was back then. Now there's this evening out, resettling of the situation. I don't test ever for fine-grained coding problems. Sort this data set using this type of algorithm. I don't do that because I couldn't do it myself. I have personally designed, written, taken to market my own SaaS products that are fairly sophisticated. B2B, B2C products. I've written pretty sophisticated software for big pharma and many other institutions, small and publicly traded companies. But the testing regiment that they have out there now in terms of these fine-grained tests and sort and this, do a bubble sort, do this. The way I would do things now is in real world, the way coding works. Prior to AI, I got this big data set. I got to be a big, how are we processing this data? How many records do we need to pull out in a particular transaction? So that would dictate the type of SQL what I use in the case of relational database. And then I would optimize. Do I use a stored proc? Do a prepared statement? We always use that. How much of a data set do I pull out, et cetera, and so forth. These are questions I would ask, and I would take it from there. What do I mean by take it from there? Then, if I didn't know exactly what the code was or how to do it, let's say I was using JavaScript. I say, okay, in the old days, I just go to Google, JavaScript, blah, 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 pull data, best sorting, blah, 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 function. Okay, boom, come out. Now you just ask the AI, right? See, the thing is, though, in all these situations, even though I don't know the specifics anymore, I forget. I've forgotten 98% of what I used to know. But it would come back to me like this. The key is that I understand the key fundamentals. So I know what MVC is. I know what a relational database is. I know what a NoSQL database is. I know when you want to render client-side or server-side. I understand these things. I understand about moving data and how to optimize data flow. But ask me to code this at a test is stupid. Because developers will constantly be researching. In the old days, it was Google or Stack Overflow. Now it's AI, right? So yeah, I would never do that. So I would fail a lot of these tech tests, I would, because of the things I just said. That being said, if you know what you're doing and you got smart people in front of you, even if you fail the test, a good chance you get the job if they like you and they can see that you're competent. So Case in point, a friend of mine, a few years ago now, I guess, he got a job at Meta as doing some pretty advanced development. I won't get into the specifics. And he told me he failed. He failed the test miserably. He got like more than half of them questions wrong. And because he wasn't boned up on that particular subset of the technology, but they still hired him because they knew he was competent. He could just go learn it like this. So, yeah, that's my criticism. I think the testing regime is going to have to change. They're going to have to test like the way I test. I would hire somebody and I would, if they passed my test, my interview, and then I would put them on, you have them on for 3 months on probation, and any time during that probation, I'll find out very quickly within the first week or two if they're competent. Then I fire them. If they're no good, I fire them. If they're good, I keep them. If they don't know everything, but I see that they're learning quickly, then I keep them. One of my mentors back in the day, he said, hire for personality, not for technical skills, because personality can't change that. Technical competency can be trained. So if you have somebody who's reasonably intelligent, has a good attitude, easy to get along with, communicates well, but they're a little short on the technical, well, learn that stuff. It's no big deal. On the other hand, if you have a guy who's a master nerd, but he's a jerk, or she's a jerkette, and they can't communicate well, they're terrible. You're never going to train that. You can train the technical, but not the personality. So the last thing I want to cover up is how they have these highly technical tests for jobs, and to the point where people are brushing up to pass a fake dumb test, in my opinion. Ooh, they're going to test me all these algorithms and sorting patterns. I better brush up on that. That's bull. That doesn't really teach competency. That just teaches whether or not you're able to get around to brush up on things. You're able to do that. It's dumb. I remember I did martial arts for quite a while. And I remember for our exams, in one style I did it for like 20, 25 years. And in one style I did, all the styles, not all styles, and many of the styles I did, more traditional arts, they would have your yellow belt test and your green belt test and your brown belt test. And, eventually I did my black belt test. And they're testing, and I remember I'm doing the black belt test. This is the one I remember, the last one. So I remember I'm doing the black belt test. And everybody there knows me. They know me well, including the professors, the teachers. And they're testing me on stuff that they've seen me do 10,000 times. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you testing me on this? It's like, you've seen me do this many times, They're testing me in combat, doing combat. I say, I've fought these guys many times and I've taken them out many times. Why are you testing me on this? It makes no sense. There's two mindsets in this world. There's the corporate mindset where process is king, and then there's the entrepreneur and the street fighter and the ring fighter mindset where results is king. The results people are the people that push society forward into new levels, new heights. I can understand large organizations, to try to keep things in control, they put into place processes to try to manage things. But process, though important, is a bit of a crutch, and it has its weaknesses. We have to pull our thinking a little less from credentials and process, and more towards results and practicality. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not big into these testing. Unfortunately, you still see it out there. That said, if you want to get a job, especially today, 2025, it's much harder now. You got to go where the market is going. It's like Wayne Gretzky, famous hockey player from Canada. I'm a Canadian. Anyway, he used to say, you got to go where the puck's going to be, not where it is. You got to get ahead of the game. Got to get ahead of the game. So now it's agentic AI development. You want to maybe look at the meta classes, things like that. You want to get ahead of the game by networking with people, getting to know other developers, not students. Oh, that's cool. They're great. But people who are actually working in the field. Twitter groups, Discord channels, forums, whatever. local communities. That is how you're going to establish yourself in the industry. That's how you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to get the jobs. Again, and most employers, they will hire, first, when they're looking to hire somebody, the first thing they say, do you know anybody? When I had people working for me, hey, John, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody who does this? Do you know anybody who does that? Right? That's the first thing. Why? Because it's easier for me. There's a bit of a vetting there, right? It's a bit of a vetting. Because if somebody works for me or somebody I know says, yeah, this person here is pretty good, that's good. That's a vetting, right? It saves me time. Because you have to understand, when employers are hiring, there's a cost to that, right? It's not just the salary. There's a big cost in terms of they got to train you up. They got to bring you in. It's a headache. They got to get you onboarded into their workflows, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to ideally bring in somebody who's going to work out, right? You don't want to bring in a bunch of people who are not going to work out. This reminds me many, many, many years ago. I don't know. It could be 20 years now. When you get old as me, you lose track of time. 1 year feels like a day, and a year, and 5 years feels like a month, Anyway, many years ago, when I was actively pushing a lot of traffic through my websites, I used to sell website design leads. I'd get a lot. I get a lot. So I would sell these leads to web development companies or web design companies. So a lead would come in, a guy would come to my site, I want to build a site, I need this, so they fill out a form, I get the lead, and I would sell the lead to a web design firm. Some leads were $25, some leads were $100, and some were leads at $50, you get the idea. And I get a call from one of the companies who was buying a crap ton of leads from me. He says, yeah, you're getting a lot of leads, but the problem, a lot of these leads are tire kickers. They're not, or they're really small jobs, $500 jobs, $600 jobs. And at that time, web design development wasn't nearly as efficient today. Today, you can make a lot of money with these $500 jobs if you know what you're doing, if you got really good workflows in place and you know how to set up contracts and relationships. But that's another story. Anyway, the point is that the leads were not the best, and it was taking them a lot of effort and time. It was costing him a lot of money just to follow up on these not so great leads. So we had to tighten the game. We had to filter out the less than desirable leads because they couldn't afford to keep calling up all these leads. Much the same thing with employees. You have to present yourself. You have to be somebody who is... that the employer will be confident that you're likely to be successful with them. That's all. I hope this is useful. I hope I've given you a few tips in terms of how the job market works. Now you know how the person hiring thinks, and and a few other things. You know why they do the testing that they do. It's that whole group, that whole community of process people. Anyway. There you go. If you disagree with anything I have to say, let me know in the comments below. If you like this content, please comment below. Say, hey, I like this content. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Oh, wow, this is a pretty long video. I might put this out as a podcast as well. I'll have to see. We'll figure it out. If you don't like my long hair, give me 2 thumbs down. And that's it. I'm Uncle Steph.